Liverpool agree personal terms with Hugo Ekitike, wait on Isak's stance. Premier League. Liverpool have shifted focus to Hugo Ekitike after Newcastle refused to part with Alexander Isak. With a verbal agreement in place, the Reds are pushing to seal a £70 million plus deal before the transfer window closes. Liverpool's summer spending spree might just have one final twist left, and it involves a fresh face from the Bundesliga. With just days left in the transfer window, the Premier League champions are closing in on a deal for Eintracht Frankfurt striker Hugo Ekitike. Talks between the two clubs have progressed rapidly, with Liverpool now believed to have reached a verbal agreement with the 23-year-old forward. A fee in excess of £70 million is on the table, one that could beat the offer Newcastle United previously had turned down. Ekitike had a standout campaign with Frankfurt last season, scoring 15 goals in 31 starts. Those numbers haven't gone unnoticed, and with Liverpool keen to bring in a natural central striker before the window shuts, the Frenchman has shot to the top of their list. This move comes after Liverpool hit a dead end in their pursuit of Alexander Isak. The Reds had shown serious interest in the Newcastle striker, but the Magpies have made it clear Isak isn't going anywhere. Valued north of £150 million, the Swede has been labelled untouchable this summer. With that door firmly shut, Liverpool have wasted no time in pivoting, and Ekitike seems the perfect alternative. He's young, mobile, and sharp in front of goal, ticking the boxes for a Klopp-style forward. Reports suggest the club hopes to get the deal signed off before the weekend. Newcastle, meanwhile, have turned their attention elsewhere. After losing ground in the Ekitike race, they're expected to move for Brentford's Yoane Wissa in the coming hours to bolster their attacking options. Liverpool's transfer business this summer has already raised eyebrows. They smashed the British transfer record to bring in midfielder Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen for £116 million. That deal followed the arrivals of fullbacks Milos Kerkez and Jeremy Frimpong, signed for £40 million and £30 million respectively. Adding Ekitike to that list would mark the finishing touch on what's been an aggressive and forward-looking window for the Reds. With questions still swirling around Darwin Nunez's consistency and changes underway across the front line, the Frenchman could bring fresh energy and competition to the number 9 role. The window's winding down, but Liverpool seem determined to finish strong. And if Ekitike lands at Anfield in the coming days, it could be the signing that adds just the right edge to their title defense. Liverpool make Hugo Ekitike bid. Personal terms agreed. Liverpool have reportedly agreed personal terms with Hugo Ekitike, and the Frenchman's transfer could be completed this weekend. Ekitike deal progresses, offer submitted. According to Sky Germany's Florian Plettenberg on X, the Reds have now submitted their first official written offer for Eintracht Frankfurt striker Ekitike, with the 23-year-old keen on a move. In fact, it has even been claimed that the 23-year-old's move to Liverpool could be completed as soon as this weekend. Now, The Guardian reports that Liverpool have been given permission to discuss personal terms with Ekitike, and it is believed that he and his representatives have agreed a 6-year contract in principle. Newcastle have dropped out of the race to snap up the Frenchman, with Alexander Isak looking set to stay put at St. James Park. While signing Isak would arguably have been the perfect no. 9 addition for Liverpool, Ekitike represents a great option in his own right. The fact that he is desperate to move to Anfield says so much about the Reds' current standing in both the English and European game. Liverpool may have reportedly opened talks over a deal for Real Madrid winger Rodrigo, but this is Anfield understands there are no plans to move for the Brazilian at the moment. Jadon Danns is set to be given a chance to prove himself in pre-season for Liverpool before any decision is made regarding his Reds' future. Harvey Elliott has been training with a childhood coach ahead of his return to Liverpool after England U21's Euros triumph. Will he still be at Anfield this time next month? Liverpool have confirmed the world record sale of Liverpool women forward Olivia Smith to Arsenal for a fee in excess of £1 million. This is Anfield's Sam Milne has spoken to commentator Dan O'Hagan at Den Hagen to get the lowdown on Ekitike, including how he can become a regular for France while at Liverpool. If Liverpool get him, he'll be a great asset to the squad. He is at that age now, 23, when he is probably due that next crack at the top level. You know, Frankfurt are a big club, qualified for the Champions League again for next season. But they're not Liverpool. It's not the Premier League. For him to really break into the French squad as well, he needs that next step. If Liverpool did get him, he would be a good asset, and it would be good for the player as well to try himself at that higher grade again. The Newcastle have reportedly accelerated their interest in Brentford striker Yoane Wissa after withdrawing their interest in Ekitike, BBC Sport. Man United are said to have tabled an improved offer of around £70 million for Bees forward Brian Bumo. He could actually be a good signing, which is a shame. David Ornstein, The Athletic. Juventus are reportedly interested in signing United attacker Marcus Rashford. Does his form over the past few years warrant these huge clubs wanting him? Why, unselfish Hugo Ekitike would have big point to prove at Liverpool. While Alexander Isak remains Liverpool's top centre-forward target, there is good reason for the Reds to have made an approach for Eintracht Frankfurt's Hugo Ekitike. Newcastle have already had a bid of £70 million turned down for Ekitike, and the Frenchman is drawing attention from several other clubs, most notably Liverpool. This is Anfield understands Liverpool are moving forward in their approach for the 23-year-old, with the Frankfurt forward the favourite to sign should they fail to acquire Isak this summer. We spoke to commentator Dan O'Hagan at Denahagan on X, who regularly covers the Bundesliga, about Ekitike's playing style and how he compares to other forwards potentially on the move this summer. Because he is not your average centre-forward. He links up play really well, is technically excellent. He reminds me a bit of Thierry Henry, the way he's got this sort of leggy gait. He's not prolific, 15 league goals was his best ever last season for Frankfurt. But he's wanted because he's got potential. He has had a funny career. He began at Reims in France, then he got a move to PSG maybe a bit too young. He made that step from Reims, who are a pretty small club in France, to PSG. They paid good money, and this was the kind of tail end of PSG's Galacticos, so it was tough to get game time. It didn't work out there. He was wanted by Frankfurt 2 years ago, but it didn't come off. He went there 18 months ago to replace Randall Kolo Muani, who moved on to PSG. That I think the step down to Frankfurt did him the world of good because suddenly he had gone from being this small fish in a big pond at PSG to being the main man again as he was at Reims. How has he performed at Frankfurt? He scored goals from the get-go, but last season really kicked on. He linked up so well with Omar Marmish before he was sold in January to Man City. I think with Ekitike, he's a very unselfish striker. He does bring others into the game. Technically, his touch and his balance are exceptional for a guy who's really tall and really leggy. There's a grace to his game. I think he's got a point to prove as well because obviously Liverpool would be a step back up to the top level, and having had it not work out at PSG, at 23 years old maybe now is the time to try his luck again at a top club. How would you compare Ekitike to the likes of Alvarez, Sesko, Gyökeres and Isak? He is very different to all those players. I can't really think of a current player I can really compare him to. He just brings a skill set which is almost unique at that level. I just think Ekitike is his own player. Why is now the right time for Hugo Ekitike to move? If Liverpool get him, he'll be a great asset to the squad. He is at that age now, 23, when he is probably due that next crack at the top level. You know, Frankfurt are a big club, qualified for the Champions League again for next season. But they're not Liverpool. It's not the Premier League. For him to really break into the French squad as well, he needs that next step. If Liverpool did get him, he would be a good asset and it would be good for the player as well to try himself at that higher grade again. Liverpool want to complete Hugo Ekitike transfer by this weekend. Liverpool's interest in Eintracht Frankfurt striker Hugo Ekitike is accelerating rapidly, and they now intend to wrap up their next signing by this weekend. Ekitike was considered an alternate target to Newcastle centre-forward Alexander Isak, but Liverpool's pursuit now appears to be moving ahead. That comes after this is Anfield learned of their plans to present an official offer to Frankfurt following talks with the Bundesliga club this week. Now widespread reports reveal the Premier League champions intend to make Ekitike their latest arrival, with a deal to be concluded by this weekend. BBC Sport's Sami Mokbel and The Telegraph's Chris Bascombe are among those to report on a developing situation. Bascombe writes that Liverpool hope to secure him for less than the £86.5 million release clause in his contract at Frankfurt, with Mockbell adding that their offer is expected to surpass the £70 million bid made by Newcastle. Crucially, Ekitike has informed his club that he wants to move to Anfield to sign a 6-year contract. Bascombe explains. That should aid Liverpool's efforts to bring the 23-year-old to Merseyside before Arne Slot and his players depart for their pre-season tour of Asia on Monday. Newcastle have conceded defeat when it comes to Ekitike, while Man United were keen on the Frenchman but were quickly sidelined when Liverpool came to the table. If Ekitike does complete his switch to Liverpool, with there still a faint possibility that Isak pushes to leave Newcastle following this news, it would end a year-long search for a new number 9. Darwin Núñez is on the way out this summer, and Bascombe reports that the club's recruitment team have been scouting various options and been ready to move based on the availability of key targets. He adds, Ekitike has been scouted for a prolonged period and fits the usual recruitment profile. A tall, agile centre-forward, Ekitike came through the ranks at Stade de Reims before earning a move to Paris Saint-Germain in 2023 following a season-long loan. That did not go to plan, as less than a year later he left for Frankfurt, where he has proved he is capable of shining in one of Europe's top 5 leagues, including 22 goals and 12 assists in 48 games last season. Liverpool were also credited with an interest in the likes of Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins and Brentford's Yoane Wissa, but Ekitike stands out as the prime candidate. Liverpool poised to bid for Frankfurt striker Hugo Ekitike. Liverpool are now poised to make an offer for Eintracht Frankfurt striker Hugo Ekitike, with talks ongoing between the two clubs over a potential transfer. Ekitike has emerged as the next high-profile target in a busy summer of signings for Liverpool, who are now focused on bringing in a new number 9. This as Anfield understands there has been contact between Liverpool and Bundesliga side Frankfurt this week, and it is now likely a bid will follow. Transfer journalist Fabrizio Romano claims an initial proposal has already been turned down with talks continuing, while French journalist Fabrice Hawkins reports that a 6-year contract has been agreed. This comes after Newcastle saw a £70 million offer for the 23-year-old rejected on Tuesday. Liverpool have moved quickly to engage in conversations with Frankfurt, while also scoping out a potential alternative deal for Newcastle's Alexander Isak. Isak has been positioned as the club's priority target, but in the event of that move being blocked, Ekitike has been explored as their alternative. It remains to be seen if Liverpool's expected bid meets Frankfurt's asking price, with it widely reported that they will be seeking a fee close to his €100 million, £86.6 million, release clause. Liverpool have already broken the British transfer record this summer to sign Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen, with that £116 million deal joining those for Milos Kerkez, £45 million, Jeremy Frimpong, £29.5 million, and Georgi Mamardashvili, £29 million. Goalkeepers Armin Pexi and Freddie Woodman have also arrived from Puska's Academia and Preston respectively, while 4 first-team players have already departed on permanent deals. Any movement on Ekitike is likely to see Darwin Núñez edge closer to an exit, though interest from Napoli is believed to have cooled as they instead turn to Udinese's Lorenzo Luca. Núñez scored the second goal of Liverpool's 3-1 win over Preston to kick off pre-season, but is still attracting interest from clubs in Saudi Arabia. Ekitike joined Frankfurt from Paris Saint-Germain in February 2024, initially on loan before making his switch permanent for €16.5 million last summer. The Frenchman scored 22 goals and laid on a further 12 assists in 48 games last season, with no striker aged 23 or under across Europe's top 5 leagues scoring more in all competitions. Thanks for watching. Like and comment and subscribe.